history.
Welcome everybody to Help Dr. Fantastic and Thunder Save the Planet. Thunder, what are we going to do today?
Same thing we do every day, Dr. Fantastic. Continue our mission to save the planet.
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And it might sound like a silly title, but it's a serious subject. And we have a very special guest today, Michael Horn, who was inspirational in motivating me and Thunder to start this mission. We actually had Michael on, and we talked about UFOs, which are near and dear to me, and extraterrestrials near and dear to Thunder. And Michael said, forget about UFOs. That means nothing. What's important is to save the planet from the nuclear disaster at Fukushima. Since that interview, I've talked to dozens and dozens of people from 15 to 55 and over, and literally 95% of the people never heard of it. And people, I don't want to scare you, but it's an extinction level event, an ELE, like when the dinosaurs were extinct by a nuclear, well, not a nuclear, by a meteorite. Well, this disaster has been going on for 7 years. I'm not an expert yet, but this channel, please tune in, please share it with people. We are going to talk to the experts that know about this, the scientists that might be able to solve the problem, and then we're going to talk to the billionaires that might help fund the project to its completion and save the planet. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here with you guys again. Thank you very much.
So give us the dissertation on what you know from the beginning.
The beginning? You mean like once upon a time, suddenly without warning, the creation became itself, or what other?
Let's fast forward to 2011.
Okay. All right. You want to know about the Fukushima event information from the Meyer case, is what I presume.
The Meyer would work too. We'll talk about that as well. Did he have a prediction on that?
It wasn't so much a prediction as a rather long bit of communication that he had with the Plejaren people, and that had to do with what had happened at Fukushima. I have that whole article on my on my website, and I can send you guys a link to that if you want to include it. And if you
actually, we have the website pulled up now, I think, Thunder. Now that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Seeing how the Plejarians are probably more advanced than we, do they have a solution to the problem?
Well, there's no immediate solution to the problem. Let's also note that this is an ongoing situation where the leaks continue, and probably much that we don't know anything about is continuing. And if you'll type up in that box up in the right corner where it says that, yeah, type Fukushima. No, KU.
KU?
So go back it up.
F-U-K-U.
F-U-K-U-S-H. So one more back.
He's not fucking around.
Right. Shima, S-H-I-M-A.
He may be a genius, but his spelling's a little off.
There, click on what you just were on the left. The first link on the left, it says Fukushima. Yes. Now you'll see why I said it's a rather large bit of information. And when people go through that, they'll be able to see that the warning here was that this is already a super worst possible case scenario as of the first week that it occurred 7.5 years ago.
Oh. It was like a China syndrome effect.
Guys, you have to let me take this for a second. It's an emergency call, okay?
Okay. Well, as he takes that call, I can't quite read what's on the screen there, Thunder. Can you briefly surmise what's on the screen there? Thunder?
yeah, it's a lot to take in.
There's a
But
lot.
it's pretty much an exchange. Okay, here we go.
Well, we're going to link this on the our main site dedicated to the disaster. Everybody, the site is the Foundation for World Harmony. It's a 501c3. Any donations to that foundation will be directed to the Fukushima disaster 501c storm aid that's dedicating itself to remediate the problem and educate the people on what's going on. So we're serious about this. We want everyone listening to please spread this podcast and webcast to celebrities you might know, that because celebrities can get the word out easier than most people, and a lot faster. If you know any scientists that could help give us some more information, we want to talk to them. Maybe any Japanese people that have been affected by the disaster, or anyone that wants to share and help us with this, our mission. And this is a serious subject. We gave it a lighthearted title, but it's not a lighthearted subject, you know, and we want everyone to get involved. And more importantly is just get educated on it. You know, it's been 7 years, hundreds of thousands of gallons of radioactive waste have been leaked into the ocean and radiated air for the last 7 years. And as Thunder was showing you earlier, there's lots of mutated humans, plants, fish, vegetables, insects from all over the world, I guess. And literally millions of dead fish have been washed up on shores all over the place. It's a pretty sad state of affairs, and we can't ignore it. You know, I've been a victim of ignoring things, like going to the doctor. I always try to avoid going to the doctor. So I'll ignore it and it'll finally go away. And sometimes it does, but when it comes to a nuclear meltdown, it does not go away. We need to fix the problem. And first is educate everybody on the problem, and then perhaps we can do something about it. Michael, are you back?
And
yet?
I think that's what Billy is doing here. Am I right, Michael?
Well, actually, Meyer is explaining in that document the real nature of the disaster as viewed 7.5 years ago. And the problem is that, to be perfectly blunt about it, there's very little that can be done at this point. And we have to try to do things, certainly to spread awareness about these dangers. But the fact of the matter is that these things don't go away magically. They don't go away when there's millions of gallons of contaminated seawater, when the air has already been polluted, when food and other, and creatures of all sorts have already been damaged by the radiation, and people, lots and lots of cases of cancers. And of course, you have to also understand that most of the truth is suppressed from the mainstream media. It's suppressed certainly by the Japanese, the government, the TEPCO company, all of that. So I have to just be very upfront and honest and say this. All efforts to inform people about the true nature of this disaster and environmental damage as a whole, this unfortunately is only part of what we face on Earth, and much of which, like Fukushima, is unfortunately at this time beyond our actual control. There are going to be mega quakes and mega volcanic eruptions, more tsunamis and storms and hurricanes, typhoons of increasing frequency and magnitude. This is one of the reasons for the Meyer case. He started publishing these warnings back in 1951. People have to start to grasp this. That's 67 years ago. So we just have to move out of any sense of unreality, that we are somehow going to be able to just snap our fingers, or through all of the best intentions of people and music and everything else, which, I wrote my first environmental song almost 50 years ago, and I did an animated thing for environmental stuff. I was hoping would get done. That's 40. You know, look, we just have to be very honest about this. In my opinion, the most valuable thing that could be done right now would be to spread awareness of all of the scientific information that's in the Meyer case, all of the environmental information, all of the things that are the warnings of what's coming to people in this world, in our country and in other countries. And yes, we should try to, you know, be optimistic and make everything great, but if we can't deal with seeing things as they are, we have no real chance of making positive change. We'll be caught, all of the people who are going to want to just be positive are going to be caught when that pendulum, whatever form it is, that wrecking ball comes through, whether it's radiation or volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, financial collapse, which is coming globally. This is the reason the Meyer case is about our future survival. And I only wish that organizations, let's say like Greenpeace and all of those, you know, Eco Warrior and all those people that we had sent information to about the Meyer case for years, had not suppressed and ignored it, because they too had their agendas, and their agendas focused around what they thought was only the important things and what should be done, and to raise money for those causes. It's far bigger than that. It's far bigger than that. And we cannot try to paint a picture that's pretty when it isn't. So I'm all for every attempt, but if people do not use their energies and their resources to let the world know about this information from a real extraterrestrial race, we could just sit around and feel good while we can about what we're trying to do, but we won't get the whole picture until it's too late, and we can do nothing then about it at all.
Well, that's why we have, as our first phase one, is to educate and get the word out,
Yeah.
and make more of these podcasts, webcasts, with people like yourself that know what's going on. But what's sad though is whenever you try to do some good, then someone calls you. Like the other day, a gentleman called me and said, "Monty, by you telling everyone that we have an ELE upon us, you incite fear and panic, I could be held liable and be thrown in jail for telling the truth, but inciting a riot, basically." So there's laws that preclude people from telling the truth, basically. And that's sad.
Well, yes and no, but see, the thing is here, we offer information in the Meyer case, and we can prove that the Meyer case is authentic. There is no UFO case on Earth that can prove it's real other than the Meyer case. We have every standard of legal and scientific proof. So when do people decide that the thing that they found what they're looking for, and they're going to actually investigate what they found and quite possibly utilize that information? This is what's wrong with the so-called UFO community and disclosure. They're perpetually looking for extraterrestrials. They're perpetually looking for lights in the sky, because that's the disinformation agenda from the intelligence services that basically run all of that UFO nonsense. It's utter nonsense.
Thunder?
People, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thunder.
Yeah.
I think we're having a problem here.
No, everything's good.
It said,
Yeah, everything's good.
It was muted. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
What?
people. It said Ring Central had been muted, and I couldn't hear anything, so that's why I yelled out to you. Go ahead, Michael. I'm sorry.
Everything's good.
Look, here's the thing. For years, for decades, this information has been offered to the people of Earth through this man who has survived 23 attempts on his life for his trouble. Now, are we going to decide to at least look at this information? And if those of us who are looking at it, as you and you guys are, I am certainly, other people that see my work and all that, are we going to use our resources to try to alert the millions and millions of people on Earth who could have some impact if they knew this was happening and it was real? Or are we not going to do that? you know, we are here in America on the brink of quite possibly 2 civil wars within the next, who knows, years to months to years. By after 2020, we're not going to have a United States of America anymore. That's if the information from Meyer and the Plejaren is accurate. And so far, we have hundreds of specific error-free examples of their accuracy that exceeds any and everything of every form of psychic and clairvoyant and prophetic information published by any and everybody on earth since the beginning of time. No hits.
Let me ask you
I
something.
concur.
Well, Billy's been giving some prophecies of the future. Now, this event that's occurring now, the Fukushima, is it 100 years? Is it 300 years? Do we know any amount that about the future of this?
I think when we look at the Fukushima information in there, you're going to see that Meyer was told that the effects of Fukushima are going to last for centuries. That we have not, we don't really have even yet the full magnitude. I mean, they spelled it out, but our scientists haven't yet grasped it. And of course, there's so much in the way of money and resources that go to suppressing the truth, to buying off scientists in every field, you know, pharmacy and all the rest. So this is why I come back to this point. If you have the resources, if you have the connections, if you have the people who have the audience, Fukushima is one of the things facing us. And many of the effects of Fukushima will still take more time to take their toll. They're not as visible. They're happening, but they're not as visible, let's say, as earthquakes in central Italy that are precursors to the volcanic eruptions there. When those volcanoes, and this has been in the Meyer material for over 70 years, and those earthquakes have started to happen, so we've got it. It's nailed. Those events are coming, as is the eruption in northern Germany of a huge caldera. Do they give us the exact times and dates? No. We've been given the warnings, as we've been given the warnings of the devastating earthquakes and tsunamis that are going to hit off the northwest, the Cascadia subduction zone, as we've been given the warnings of the volcano in the Canary Islands that's going to devastate when it erupts, and the tidal wave that will devastate the east coast of this country. So preparing people for things that will have more very obvious effects. Yes, if you can remember with Fukushima, you can raise all the money you want, but how are you going to get the Japanese government to do what it has steadfastly refused to do for 7.5 years? Good luck. Yes, there's scientists trying to get those people to, be reasonable, but also their options are limited because nuclear power plants are insane and unsafe. So you've got to understand, every nuclear power plant on the face of the earth is a potential disaster. And that means it can be damaged intentionally through an act of terrorism. It can be damaged through an earthquake, a volcanic eruption, a leak from a meteorite hitting one of those things, uncontrollable radiation spread everywhere. This is the underlying situations here. This is what we've been trying to warn about for decades. So
Michael,
yeah.
How many nuclear plants have gone down? I know Chernobyl was a big one.
I don't have the actual number, but as you will find in that article and other articles from Meyer, there have been other leaks that have never been revealed. I don't know the location of them. Meyer spoke about this. I am processing tons of information all the time and going through Meyer's hundreds of thousands of pages of information. So I don't always have everything at my fingertips, but they already said you've had nuclear accidents on Earth that nobody has spoken about. You have radiation leaking from hospitals, from facilities that use nuclear power. You don't read about this because everything's money to these people. They don't care if, if their children are born with, 6 eyes and 9 feet. It's money, and that's what you're up against now. So if you want to use money positively, if you want to use it, Fukushima, it's great to draw awareness, but it's only one of the things. The real awareness either gets drawn to this information, the full body of it, the reality of it, or people can just, pardon me, jerk themselves off thinking they're changing the world with this thing or that thing. It ain't going to happen.
And I don't think people realize that radiation doesn't go away. Its half-life is, what's the half-life of it? It's a 10,000 years.
I think it depends on the form of radiation. It's enormous. Now, it doesn't mean that there won't be technologies to remediate that. There will. But that's going to be yet to come. It's not in time. Not for now. Parts of our oceans are already dead, and won't be regenerated for perhaps millions of years. You're not going to get the truth from any of the environmental groups because they don't want to know the whole damn thing. You're not going to get the truth from the government. You're not going to get the truth certainly from the Japanese government and industry. This is what you're faced with. Everybody's got their vested interests. So like Alex Jones, I tried to bring Myers material to Alex Jones. I think what's happened with that is every now and then he looks in there and he takes some of the information, he blends it into his own stuff. He doesn't want to let people know that all of his hysteria, that we've warned about the things that he's suddenly discovering. All this talk about civil wars in America, everybody was laughing about that 2 years ago. No one would talk about it. 1981 and 87, Meyer publishes the warnings. It's here, folks. The breakdown to that is here. Who knows what will happen after tomorrow's elections? If you don't waken people and say, folks, you've read the script, you've seen the movie, and you know how it ends, unless you start to institute some of this thinking, some of the suggestions, because this is not a snap your fingers and everything's fixed proposition.
No, we're just at the beginning of a long journey. If we get on the journey and get on top of things right now, we're just at the beginning. Again, we just started this channel, and I'm passionate about it, and I'm really glad you're on the same page and joining our team for this mission to get the word out. We need everyone listening to spread this to the social media, to put it on your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, all those other Pinterest, whatever the hell those social media platforms are. We need to get celebrities to get behind this. Celebrities have a great ability to spread this knowledge to millions and millions of people around the world. We need to get the Japanese to put aside their egos and admit that the problem's there, and we need to solve it. Everybody listening, please share this. Well, and it needs to be shared.
My thinking is this. I assume that you guys have your connections to various celebrities because your audience, if it's good folks just turning in, most of them don't. And so if you have those connections, then it'll be, incumbent upon you to make those contacts with those people and to give them a credible presentation on whatever you want to do. But I have tried to get in touch with celebrities because one or two celebrities that know about the Meyer case that even said, hey, this is interesting, why don't you look at it? They don't even have to endorse it. 1 million people here and 1 million people there hitting their computers and discovering this, that will change things more, in my opinion, than 1,000 concerts.
Well, here's the good news. Doug Ivanovich joined our mission last week. He's very passionate about this Fukushima and solving it. And he has access to the Bruno Mars, the Bruce Springsteens, the Beyoncés of the world. And we're going to be doing some concerts, and we're going to do hopefully some interviews with those kind of people, get them and educated on maybe a podcast or two. But we are going to be doing some super concerts with StormAid. That website, stormaid.live. And StormAid is bringing in, under their 501c3, the Fukushima relief effort. So any donations to the Foundation for World Harmony, and the site is the foundationforworldharmony.org, and where all this information, where this these webcasts can be viewed, will be directed to Storm Aid and then directed to the relief. And we've got a number of other people we'll be interviewing very shortly, and we'll continue this until we get on the right path. Again, phase one is education, educating the entire planet on the disaster, this literal ELE that's occurring. And we're happy to have you on the team, Mike, and we will call upon you time and again when we do get the celebrities, because they may be asking the tough questions that we can't answer, but people like you that know what's going on, and especially Billy Meyer, that was foretold that these things are going to happen. But it still draws me back to my original question earlier. If prophecies are the future, that means someone's seen the future, and I really want to know if Meyer, if he gets in contact again, can ask. There's got to be a futuristic remedy for neutralizing radiation. And I know there's some people that have something you can eat to alleviate radiation poisoning. Seaweed, I'm told, is part of the ingredient. But we'll be talking to people for nutrients that people could start eating, because I'm told we're kind of safe on sea level, because the radiation that came from Fukushima is higher up in the atmosphere, and of course lower in the water in the ocean. So sea level is we're somewhat a little safer, but no one's safe right now from the radiation.
Well, first of all, prophecies and predictions are two different things. Prophecies are warnings about events that will occur if people don't change the direction. We didn't change the direction when Meyer has been warning for decades about atomic energy, the dangers of it. The Plejaren said, don't use that. It's going to wipe out a lot of your world. Okay, we did. But again, I'm very realistic. I think that it's great to warn people about something like Fukushima, but it's not anything that anybody themselves can do anything about. And while concerts are wonderful and all, if you have people who are influential, who are celebrities, let them give people the whole story. Focusing just on Fukushima, the one terrible event, huge thing that nobody can do anything about, when warning people, when people could get into the Meyer material and see these other things that are coming and prepare themselves for them, that's where I'm at. I don't see any purpose in thinking that the world is going to wait for our agenda with a concert or something. Things are coming. They're coming rolling towards us. We can't say, well, the first thing we'll do is we'll have a concert to raise money. People that, it's great. I love music. I'm a musician. But people get involved with concerts because they want music. And if they can donate to something they think is a cause, it's great.
Well, I'm not saying the concert just to get money for donations. I'm telling you, if we have 3 billion people watching one of our concerts and we give them a 5-minute dissertation on the dilemma or the catastrophe that's happening, that's the education. That's phase one as far as the education. And hopefully from them getting educated, they'll want to help somehow.
Well, I say, why wait? If you've got people, you just said you made a connection with somebody, that's a person who should be calling me. That's a person who should want to know now why I'm claiming that this is the only scientifically corroborated, proven UFO case, and the core of it is about our survival. And Fukushima, the warning, you saw the page there, all that information within days of Fukushima. What else is in this material? Do we want to spend 5 minutes on telling people that Fukushima's a terrible thing? Or do we want to tell them, ladies and gentlemen, all of you, Tom DeLonge belongs to an organization looking for extraterrestrial, all of this bull crap in the world. We have it. It's here. We're ready to give it out. But now you guys too, everybody's going to have to think, well, what's more important? Would it be to have a concert and to raise money is more important? Or is it more important to tell people Fukushima? Or is it more important to tell them, hey, an extraterrestrial race for 70 years has been trying to wake us up about all this stuff, and we have it. we're trying to give it. There's a man who survived 23 attempts in his life for his trouble. We don't care about concerts anymore because they're not going to change the world.
You told me to forget about UFOs and that Fukushima was the important issue.
No, I said Fukushima and the environmental destruction. These are the important things. I don't care about the UFOs, the ships they came in. We can simply prove that the information here is impeccably accurate. It's ironclad. It extends far beyond Fukushima. It extends far beyond what any of our scientists know or have been talking about. And we're trying to get it out for millions and billions of people just to try to see what the heck is going on. Will people wake up in time? And, you know, when I'm done with this interview with you guys, I have to reach some people. I have to call some people, even my daughter, et cetera, who are helping me with things. And as soon as I'm done with this show, I move on to some other things. So, you know, you have to understand that this is out of the framework of even what most people who are interested in UFOs and ETs can grasp. It's real. It's done. We're not searching for that crap anymore. Now that we know, what will we do with the information? Are we going to ignore it and make it play second fiddle to music?
Okay, so what's the solution? Give us the solution. Give us your advice.
I'm going to give you the solution right now in terms of the way I see it. And that's based on the fact that you guys are in a pivotal position. You have made contact with some movers and shakers who also are going to have a real big vested interest in the survival of the world. Okay, so in my opinion, what we do is you go to them and you say, look, you should know, the show Coast to Coast, I'm sure, right? Okay, I've done it.
Yeah, that's where I did my first one.
Okay, right. 19 times. George Norrie, the last one, says, Michael Horn is the world's leading expert on UFOs. The Billy Meier case is amazing. The prophecies are, okay. So you turn to someone like that and you say, look, and I'll tell you what you do before so you know what to do. You say, look, here's 4 links from these independent military, scientific, and legal experts about this case. It's real. That's the tip of the iceberg. The rest of it is going to blow your mind. It's suppressed. And that man, Michael, will speak to you for free. He'll meet with you somewhere. He'll send you DVDs and whatever you want so that you can grasp what's really going on. Because you guys, all of us, within 6 months, we're going to see a very different world for many reasons. Politically, geopolitically, environmentally, economically, all of the stuff that's being touted as this new economic boom, that's going to crash. That's going now. So either now, and that I'll say, okay, that's my opinion. It's Billy Meier's information. Don't believe it. I would say test it. If you want to question any of these specifics, if you want people that you know who are in a position of some power, who are able to, to do something, if they grasp the truth is the truth, then you become the people who truly start to steer the world to the solutions. I mean it. There's very few people that will do that. There's very few people that even have any connections to people who could help, who have the resources and the connections to help. This is not showbiz, guys. This is not showbiz. This is not the next cause. It's not to make anybody famous. It's to help people take some responsibility in their lives and also to know where to go during the coming times, how to come together with like-minded people. This world is changing. And we can look back on this conversation at a certain point. We'll look back and we'll say, either aren't we glad that we risked it, we got some people involved. Look, I deal with people who are astrophysicists, military investigators, aerospace scientists, high-level legal people. I make presentations at universities. When I was in China and Hong Kong a few years ago, I made a presentation there for 1,500 students, a separate one for 200 scientists and media people. I can talk to any of these people on the level that they need to know, and I can bring in aerospace people, military people. But unless we're going to have people who can do something with this, with this information and with and vetting it and getting that it's real, we're going to just join the, you know, the la la chorus. Let's have another conference. Let's have another expo. Let's have another concert, anything. We're past the point where that is going to change the world at all. Not, and I don't know how else to say it. If you got, and I don't mind being challenged. Let's just say you've got somebody who says, well, you'd have to prove to me, and I'll say, okay, where would you like me to be? I'll set up a 4-hour presentation for you. And in the first 15 minutes, you're going to know that what I'm telling you is true, but we'll go through the whole thing until your questions are, and challenges are solved. Now, what will you do at that point? Now that you know, what will you do? Who will you talk to? We're not trying to get rich here. It's pointless. There's no protection just from money against what's coming to the world. So Meyer has lived his whole life and continues to bring forward this information, to do this type of work for our future survival. All of the information, all of those things that we could study to know what to do now, even though we're late, we could still learn. Okay, now here's how you're going to have to move, so to speak, literally and figuratively, to survive, for food, for water, for working together. We're coming into a new time. This is going to be chaos soon.
I'm ready.
So what I would leave you with, this is what I would leave you with. And by the way, the fact that you're focused on Fukushima, thank goodness, because you grasp that. I'm just trying to drop a bunch of other shoes so that you know that even if tomorrow we could solve Fukushima, we're not out of the dark, and we can't solve it tomorrow. We've got to grasp the whole thing, and we've got to each see the difference with the Meyer material is, so nobody's going to say, you've got to believe it. I'm not saying that. We want people to have the opportunity to go to their keyboards, hit Billy Meyer or my website or whatever they go with it, and to study the pro and con and go, wait a minute. This is real. Why didn't somebody tell us? Why has all this skeptical stuff been keeping it from? Why did MUFON lie about it? Why does SETI not tell us about it? Why isn't Tom DeLonge admitting it while he uses Billy Meyer's photos for his UFO group? We are just beyond insane. And only folks that grasp it, if you're out there in Marina Del Rey in the harbor on a beautiful day like this, for instance, or wherever you may be, and you go, wow, you know, maybe there's a real big picture here. I come in and out of LA. I can tell you privately later when I'll be in again, if you have any people to meet with. I'm telling you, you're going to have to bring in some heavy hitters if you are going to succeed in mobilizing, because the media suppresses this material. They don't want people knowing about Meyer. I mean, I could go into that for a long time. So you asked what to do. Step one, get some people that you know are in positions of power who are intelligent and say to them, look, we have information. We think it's beyond credible. The person who's the proponent of it, who's got 40 years of research into it, will virtually meet you anywhere and give you the whole thing. Or you can just go online and look at his stuff, but he'll answer all your questions however you want it. And when you grasp this, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, guys.
No, that's all great what you're saying, and we're so happy that you're part of the team. You did help fire up the team, and it will be a team effort. We're going to get some great people like yourself on board, and we will forge forward and do what we can. That's all we can do is do our best, you know.
Well, you know, it goes the other way too. If it's a team effort, I'd like to know, you know, I consider anybody who is truly interested in contributing to awareness of this material is on that team. My contribution is mainly around this material. It will be here, the Meyer information will be here long after many things have come and gone, long after many people, many events, etc. It'll be here for the survivors, and for those people that want to be among the survivors, not from a panic survivalist mode, but who want to be among the survivors because they get the information that they need to know. That's what we're here for. So all the other,
Michael,
yeah.
thank you for your time.
Yep.
I mean, This is only our third episode, and we're glad to have you on board. And we will talk often and keep this going. And please, everyone who's watching, share this. Get it to the celebrities you know. Get it to the power players that you know. People need to know what's going on. People need to know about Myers. They need to know about Fukushima. They need to educate themselves. Don't bury your heads in the sand. Don't get out there and be part of this. Be part of our team. Go to befantastictoday.com. Go to the foundationforharmony.org. Go to theyfly.com. I believe that's the site, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm. Or They Fly blog, which is interactive. People can participate there.
Michael, thank you for your time. Thunder, any last words from Thunder?
Michael Horn, you're a superhero to me. So I appreciate it. Everything that I've been studying here for 20 plus years in applied quantum mechanics, I think boils down to the solutions that you're talking about here. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you guys very much, and it's a pleasure to have the opportunity, believe me. So let's do it again, and let's stay in touch, okay?
You got it, Mike. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Be fantastic, everyone.